Hey, it's James here from GOODGUITARIST.com. A few weeks back, we learned that famous riff from Pretty Woman. And I got a bunch of requests to do the entire song, so let's do that today. Let's just take a quick look at what we'll be learning. So this one uses some basic chord shapes, but there is that F sharp minor bar chord in here. You know, we could use a capo and totally eliminate it, but then that other section with the D minor, G and all that goes into like a crazy key. So, you know, there's no like super simple way to get around it. Plus we want to be able to play that riff. And if we use a capo, we can't get that low E string. So we're going to learn it as intended, you know, as Roy Orbison intended us to learn this song, using the original chord shapes and all that. There's no simplification, and I don't really think it's required. If you find that you do need help with that stuff, I have a ton of resources. I have a bar chords course. I have my free ebook. You know, I'll put a link to all that stuff in the corner and down below. Anyways, we're going to get started with the chord shapes needed to play the verse. We have A, then F sharp minor. That's that bar chord. And for this, a good tip is to really pay attention to how high or low your index finger is, as well as your thumb placement. That's going to make a huge difference. Obviously, bar chords are a whole thing. I have a few lessons on them here on YouTube. I'll put a link in the corner, so you can check those out if you need more help with it. Anyways, we have our bar chord for F sharp minor. There's also a D chord and an E chord. And those four chord shapes, A, F sharp minor, D, and E, that's the 1, 6, 4, 5 progression in, if you like look at it in terms of numbers, it's a super famous progression. You can literally type that into Google. You'll see an article on Wikipedia about it and like a billion songs that use it. You might know G, E minor, C, D. It's the same progression, but in the key of A. Anyways, enough about the progression itself. Let's take a look at the chord order here. We have it up above. Once again, it's pretty straightforward. We're gonna do 4 downstrokes per chord shape. That's how I want you to start, just to get used to the switching, you know, going 1, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor, 2, 3, back to A. And you could even sing at this point, I'd like to meet Pretty Woman. And then here, there's an extra 2 beats of D. So we do 6 beats total, but we would count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then we have 4 measures of E. So we count to 4 times on the E chord. And I want you to do that at your own pace. You know, once you've gone through this entire lesson, that's step 1 when it comes to like, you know, making sure that you got this hand, your chord hand, doing its job. Once you're good with that, we can add the strumming pattern. I'm going to use the most common strumming pattern ever because it's the most common, but it also suits this song the best. I'm on an A chord here. And notice my thumb's lightly touching the low A string. That's not required, but it is kind of nice to mute it. Anyways, our pattern is down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And I've taught this pattern in like a million lessons. I'll put a link in the corner if you do need to brush up on it. But long story short, you could work on the first half and then the second half, going down, down, up, 3, 4, down, down, up, 3, over and over again. And then for the second half, going 1, 2, miss, up, down, up, 1, 2, miss, up, down, up. It's important to say miss as you miss the strings, and you know, keep your arm going with the beat, down on the numbers, up on the ands. And like I said before, if you need more help with it, you can check out that video. Otherwise, we'll assume that, you know, you've done this in a couple songs before, and we can add this strumming pattern to our chord progression. We're gonna do 1 strumming pattern per chord shape, except on D. Remember how we had 6 beats of D? The strumming pattern fills up 4 beats. And then for those extra 2 beats at the end, we can just go down, down, up. So over that D chord, we're gonna go down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, down, up. You we do our regular pattern and then we add down, down, up to fill in those 2 beats. And then it's pretty straightforward from there. So let's try this together, nice and slow. I'm gonna get out my metronome and set it to, let's do this at like 82. During the intro, I played it at 118 beats per minute. Still a hair slower than the original tune, but we're doing it much slower now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in case you're wondering about that riff, we are going to add it later when we assemble the tune. But for now, let's just figure out all the chords and strumming portions. The other section of this song uses totally different chord shapes. D minor, going to G. And for that one, if you play D minor this way with your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, it's a bit of a stretch, but it's an easy switch to G. Otherwise, you can play D minor like this. This has always been my default way with my pinky on that fret. I don't know, it just kind of fits in better when you add like riffs and stuff. Anyways, we have D minor going to G, and then C, and A minor. And then we do that a couple more times. And then we go back into our other progression where we have A, F sharp minor, D, and E. So we actually change keys. That's why the chords are so different here. We're in the key of C all of a sudden, whereas the other section was in the key of A. That's what gives this section such a really cool and different feeling. Anyways, let's just try this. You can see the chord symbols here. 1 strumming pattern per chord symbol. As far as the rhythm goes, there's nothing fancy. We're just going to use our regular strumming pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop away, pretty woman, talk a while. Pretty woman, give your smile to me. 2 times on the C chord. Pretty woman, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty woman, look my way. Pretty woman, say you'll stay with me. Chord or key change to A. And from there, we can either play 4 measures of E or we can do our riff. So let's take a look at that whole thing, adding the riff to the song. As I've already mentioned before, we did learn the riff previously. I'm going to put a link in the corner to that lesson where, we spend the whole lesson working on the riff. The song starts off with our riff, just like we play it in that lesson, and we do this bit 4 times, 3, 4, and then pretty woman. Right into the chords. There's no break, no pause. So that's the part you'd want to work on, is going. Grabbing that A chord straight out of it. I'll do it one more time. And that's what we want to do. And we work our way into the chords. And then after our verse, we play our E chord 4 times, back into this thing. So you want to do that too, is strum 1 measure of E and then play the riff once. That way you can attach them to each other, right? You don't have to play through the whole song at once. Just isolate that one little transition between the chords and that riff. And then once again, we play the riff, we go into another verse. We've already worked on that transition from the riff into the A chord. And then going between the A section, the verse plus the chorus, where we start on the D minor chord, it's a little bit different. We do our riff 3 times, 2, and then we play the E chord that way. So our riff 3 times, and then the E chord, and we go down, 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 down. So it's just downstrokes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we make sure that our volume goes up. It's a crescendo, I think that's the official term for it, but I just kind of start on the lower strings, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You know, just that's something you just got to feel out. There's no like real technical way to discuss that. You know, just try it a bunch. And yeah, you do your riff once, or 3 times, sorry, into da 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 da, and then you're ready to play that section, which we've already gone over. And then that section transitions into our verse again. But this final verse is a little bit different. For this one, we play it as usual, but once we get to the end to our E chord, instead of just playing it 4 times, we play it 10 times, and then we do our intro again. So let's go to like the 9th and 10th time that we play the E chord. You know, let's pretend we already played it with the strumming pattern 8 times. It would go. Stop. What do I see? 4, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2. Then our riff 9 times. And we do our riff 9 times, and then we end pretty woman. So we just do our downstrokes on woman, and rhythmically that's 1 and on an A chord, 2 downstrokes, and that's how we end the whole tune. As far as like putting that ending together, that's the one part where you may need to like take a look at it and really figure it out. I do have a full playthrough of this on my Patreon page where I play through the entire song, start to finish, with a metronome, just like I did in the intro, but the whole thing. And you know, we iron out the ending, and there's singing and the metronome clicking, so you have all the things to guide you through the whole song. If you do need any extra help, please, you know, ask in the comments down below. I have all those resources. I have my course, Learn Guitar Once and For All, Strumming Made Simple, Bar Chords Made Easy. Those 3 courses would all gear you towards, you know, doing the bar chords, doing the advanced counting, adding all that stuff. I have a lead guitar course for that lead part, you know, tons of stuff to help you out, and tons of lessons here on YouTube. So please take a moment to like, subscribe, and yeah, and check out those resources down below. It's a really great way to help the channel. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.